hello you bearded bastards, and allow me to welcome you to the forests of Sakading. A fairly typical conifer forest in a fairly typical world. A world of monsters, of wars, of excitement, of artifacts, and sprawling empires. But today we won't be delving into such fantastic tales, no. Today our focus will be on things much, much smaller. You see, what we have here are a pair of dwarves, just two dwarves. Dwarves named Libash and Tobal. And they've come here to this forest to make for themselves a small home, a very small home. They're hoping to make a place for themselves in this gigantic world. It will never grow any bigger than it is now, though these two are described as being kindred spirits. And if things continue to evolve, then I suppose we can make some room for children as well. Time will tell on that, though. Now, we don't have any grand ambitions for today if that's not already obvious, and I certainly don't expect for there to be any epic stories. This is just a little experiment, just to see what we can do with two dwarves by themselves, just out in the world. It should be an interesting little experience, if nothing else. And with that, allow me to introduce you to Tobal Bassenaban. Approaching middle age, he's tall and bellarded by great hanging sacks of fat. Quite a hefty fellow. Very polite and not given to flights of fancy, Tobal has always been a very reliable dwarf. Pleasant. A straight arrow, if you will. That being said, he does have some trouble mastering fear when confronted by danger, and also he often feels discouraged. A couple of aspects that can be hard to handle, if you were alone here anyways, but of course he is not. Accompanying him here in this forest is his kindred spirit, Libash. A few years older than Tobal, she bears a standard build and the heliotrope eyes of her people. Libash is inattentive, does not have a great aesthetic sensitivity, and she also makes a small mess with her possessions. A bit of a free spirit, she does not tend to get very close with others, except for Tobal here seemingly, but still she's able to make do and is well liked by others regardless. Yet a good pair of dwarves here. Productive dwarves. It is still granite in the year 248, and really they've only just arrived. But as you may have gathered just watching in the background there during this intro, they've already broken through the aquifer that is under the ground in this area, a heavy aquifer mind you, and they've also gained access to the caverns underground, which screwed up their plans quite a bit actually, but no matter. Gotta go with that flow. And you know, I think it'll be nice to have the cavern so close by. It can be a good resource, if a bit deadly, but with proper precautions it shouldn't be a problem at all really. Now, while the dwarves get to work, I should introduce you to our animals. Nothing too special here, just a donkey and a yak, the two who pulled the wagon here. We were going to butcher them both, but apparently Libash is a big fan of yaks. We might still end up butchering the donkey, but we'll see. We also have 5 chickens, which would be good for eggs and occasional meat. And we also have a cat, which would be good for taking care of vermin. As far as their new home goes, you can see they're carving it out right now, and it's going to be fairly spacious, with above ground and underground sections. Above ground there's going to be a courtyard section with enough space for the animals and for some above ground crops, and down below they're already carving out their home. It'll consist of a few large chambers. They can afford to have very large chambers here because it's not in a cramped fortress. That'll give them enough nice space to stretch out. It should end up being fairly luxurious, actually. And of course, one of the most important things is that they'll need a workshop area. You see, these two are proficient weapon and armor smiths. And one of the main reasons they're here is because they would really like to ply their trade. Wouldn't that be pretty cool? They get to just be out here by themselves, making weapons and armor and having them sent away in the caravans. And maybe they'll do some training as well. It would be nice if they knew how to use their crafts. Hopefully they won't have to use their crafts, but I suppose it is at least slightly likely. Oh, that's strange and honestly a little worrisome. Looks like we have a visitor, a human swordsman who looks to be geared for battle. I'm sure they're not a troublemaker, but I guess you never know. One of our major concerns here is that the goblins and a necromancer tower are both very close by. Now, I don't think they'll be causing us any trouble because we are a fairly unassuming little fortress here. Gonna put that in quotes. But yes, it certainly couldn't hurt to remain on our toes. Here, Libash, let's go have a look. Okay. Their name is Mezim, and they're a monster hunter, which is something we don't really have a use for here, I guess. You know what? How about we pop out into Legends mode for a minute and see if we can find some more information about this character. Alright, let's see here. Mezim Wasp Test. Born in 220, so he's about 30 years old, and started fighting when he was very young, only at 12. Looks like he had a couple girlfriends, did some more fighting, and then began wandering the wilds. And I assume that's when his monster slaying career started. It looks like in 240, Mezim and a bunch of others were expelled from a place called Short Heel, and someone named Asthi Lathered Board was the one to do it, due to religious persecution nonetheless. and after expelling them it looks like some sacred sites were desecrated. Pretty dark actually. It's easy to forget how much backstory some of these characters can have. Well, you're free to stay as long as you like of course, but we have no need of your services. Well anyways, let's keep at it, dwarves. We still have quite a ways to go before we can call this a home. Okay, we are back and it is now fall of our first year. And as you can see, the wagons have arrived, which is pretty good actually. We still have not found any metal down underground, and we're gonna have to get our hands on some somehow. I know there's metal somewhere down there, but we just haven't found it yet. Might take some time before we do too. But in order for us to get anything, we're gonna have to make something to trade first. And so Topo and Libash are quickly crafting up some training weapons, just out of wood. Nothing special, but it's the best we can do right now. While they do that, I can show off the improvements to our home. You can see there's now a nice wooden wall around our courtyard pit. Going down, you can see it descends a couple of levels into our courtyard. Going down farther, you can see our actual home, where we have our new bedroom, our meeting hall, a little food storage area, and it's all still quite messy. We're getting it done though. Things take a much longer time when you only have the 2 dwarves. Well, we're trying to do our best trading here, but unsurprisingly these wooden training weapons don't get us very much. I guess we're just going to have to settle for a single steel anvil. Not sure how many bars of steel that'll get us, but probably not a lot. That's okay though. Hopefully we'll have something better to trade by next year. Anyways, life here in the fortress has been fairly calm. We're in a bit of a savage area here, and so we've seen numerous giant animals out in the forest. Nothing too dangerous as of yet. At one point there was a cougar out in a tree, but it didn't bother us. And aside from that, we've seen a bunch of giant insects, grasshoppers, mosquitoes. There was just a family of beetle men up there, which is pretty interesting. Again, they were harmless. And aside from that, we've had no more visitors. Although I am thinking of opening our place to visitors. It might be nice to get people in here to talk from time to time. You can see right now we have the outpost liaison hanging around. I'm sure they'll be here for a while, which is fine, but I mean, this isn't like a typical fortress. 3's a crowd, but whatever. That's a message right there. Kruggsmash, a Febsalaz's fist bard, is visiting. What the hell is that? Oh, okay. Here they are, just hanging out in a pond. Let's have a look at this character. Krug is a one-eyed humanoid with a knobby trunk. Its charcoal skin is wrinkled. It's a necromancer experiment, and therefore isn't necessarily undead. I don't think this is an undead creature. Okay. Legends mode is warranted, I think. Yes, a very interesting character here for sure. Krug was born in 128, and in 129, his home was attacked by a dwarf necromancer, and his entire family, both his parents and all of his siblings, were either killed or turned into undead creatures. Krug was the only one who was experimented on, and turned into a Febsalaz's fist, but then pretty much just resumed his life as a dwarf. And in fact, most of his life he's been fighting to either defend the dwarves or attack their enemies. Well, I'll tell you what, you could feel free to come into our fortress if you want. You seem like a fairly nice guy, but I can understand the sheepishness. Screw it. We can press the matter a little bit. In the name of hospitality, we'll just get a little screw pump built up here. 2 shakes, my friend. And there we go. Getting all that water pumped out. Hey man, what do you think? You want to come out? Come out of that muddy pit? Come on in the fortress. What are you doing? Oh dear. Don't do that, please. Please? Alright. Looks like they're coming in. How's it going? Yeah, that's our bedroom. You can come on out here to the meeting hall if you like. Get some food or something. Or whatever. Anyways. Right there we had a troglodyte sneak in from the caverns, and they wounded Libash, not terribly. She's pretty bruised up and took a couple nasty hits to the stomach, but she'll be fine. It's winter now, midwinter, almost spring, and if you have a look over here you can see a screw pump. The dwarves are going to use it to fill up a nice big, safe well inside, and after it is full they can close it up, and they don't have to worry about the caverns anymore. But that's the thing, we have to get to that point first. So, let's do it. There we go, wonderful. And done deal. We have a nice functioning well now. And on top of that, the caverns are sealed up. Totally good to go. Well, looks like we just rolled over into spring, and we have a couple more human warriors here to visit. Gotta be more monster slayers, right? Yeah, it looks like it. Well, again, we don't really have much work for you, despite our minor troglodyte problem. So, yeah, off with you, I guess. We still haven't marked our home as a place for visitors to come. but maybe we should do that. Makes sense now that we have things fairly straightened up. Really, I can't believe how long it's been already. All this mining, smoothing, workshops, furniture, yeah, it takes some doing. And I'll also note that these two are just still friends. I thought for sure the relationship would pass beyond that, but it still has not, and, well, I'm starting to doubt it will. Currently, Libash views Tobal as a friend, and Tobal views her as a kindred spirit. I'm not too sure what the difference is, but I don't think it's changed since we've been here. In other good news, I did notice we do have some metal ore here, out in the caverns actually, magnetite, so we can make iron equipment, which is very excellent. We'll have to try to figure out a safe way to get to it at some point, after we actually have some workshops made, that is. I'm still hoping to see these two get a little bit closer. So far they've had so much work to do here in the fortress they haven't had much time to socialize with one another, but I'm hoping that changes at some point. Well, this is interesting right here. I have paused the game, but since we've opened up our fortress to visitors, it looks like a group of warriors is here. And they're here in search of an artifact called Hustle Wandered, a legendary silver warhammer. And has quite a storied past. Since its creation, it looks like it has bounced around to a whole bunch of different owners, and finally ended up with an Etten, Moguk Monk Bristled. Well, that's something to note, but unfortunately we can't help you with that. Best of luck on your quest, adventurers. It looks like right now Libash is telling them a story. The story of our dwarves, the peaceful group, that's what these two call themselves, founding this place. Peacefulhome. Just letting these warriors know a little bit about us, I guess. Very cool. I really can't appreciate the intimacy of a small fortress like this. Get to really know the characters. It also makes the smaller events seem so much bigger. Oh, would you look at that? Go goddamn figure. Taking a look at Tobal's relationships, and it looks like Libash is now his lover. Shows you what a little socialization can do right there. I knew they'd make the jump at some point. Just had a feeling. Also noticing too all these passing acquaintances, the warriors that are here currently. Very interesting. It'll be really cool to see if that relationship can improve if they keep returning here, just like over the years, you know? Yeah, really getting to be a big fan of these two. It's an interesting experience. Enjoy yourselves while you can, dwarves, because we're going to have to get back to work very soon. Okay, that right there was a large time jump. Nearly 2 years have passed, but I think these two have finally found some time to relax. It's taken a lot of work to get this place in running order, and as you can see, we have a great number of visitors these days. Bards, dancers, poets, monster slayers, all kinds of people, telling stories, poetry. It's very interesting, and these two have grown to love their little place here. Though, once again, I must reiterate, it's taken a lot to get it into this state, and these two really have not been taking care of themselves, or their relationship. They are still lovers, but I was hoping to see them be married by now. Still, I have hope. As you can see, our little meeting hall here has advanced quite a bit. It's much bigger to accommodate all these people. We have a few more tables and chairs, as well as several rooms on the sides, each with a bed, just in case somebody wants to take our room for the night. Over here we have a nice engraving on the floor, some diamonds, just kind of a little geometric pattern. Thought that was nice. And then up this way here you can see the workshop area. We have the pantry, stone stockpile, lumber stockpile, miscellaneous goods, furniture, and tools stockpile. Down underneath you can see our magnetite ore. We do have some now, and we've yet to do anything with it really. And then up to the north here you can see a tunnel that leads out to the caverns, but we have not dug through quite yet. Yeah, these two have kind of lost focus over the years. Remember, they wanted to come here so they could ply their trade a bit, make some weapons and armor. They've done none of that so far, but that ends today. Come on, you two, let's do it. Gonna start smelting some of this magnetite and making more charcoal. You know, at this point, these two have to be pretty rusty with their metal crafting skills. They've done nothing with it in the past 3 years. Yeah, we should really start trying to remedy that. Gonna pop back up here to the surface for a second, because I do have some worrying news. Just recently, just before I got back here, we had the message that a vile force of darkness has arrived, which means that the goblins know we are here. And we did spot some goblins, humans, and elves, all allied with the goblins, but they left right after we got the message, thankfully. Just passing through, perhaps? I don't know, maybe they won't spot us again. Just gonna have to hope they leave us alone. But of course, if they don't, we're gonna have to figure something out. We don't really have any way to defend ourselves here. Speaking of which, looks like we're well on our way to getting some iron bars here. And yes, we do have quite a few, fantastic. And so how about we whip up some armor and weapons? What do you say, guys? We'll just keep pumping out weapons and armor till we get some masterwork quality stuff. Alright, that was our first successful load of weapons to get shipped out right there. A whole bunch of iron battle axes, and we were able to get quite a bit with them. Got a whole bunch of new food, a whole bunch of new clothing, and a bunch of steel and gold bars. Pretty exciting. We have enough materials to go quite a ways, I think. You hear that, patrons? We have a whole slew of new foods and drinks available, so get excited. Right at the current time, we have a couple of performance troops visiting, as well as a whole bunch of solo artists. Yes, it's quite a busy place here today. And there are a couple of interesting characters I'd like to point out, including one who's been here many times, Doran, the bard. Here you can see him just on the ground. He's missing a leg, and a finger as well. I'm not too sure what his story is, but he's one of the first visitors to have come here, and he's been a return visitor for many years now. He must really like it here. Let's take a look at his past. I'm pretty curious. Here we have him. Doran was born in 110, and when he was only 1 year old, his upper left leg was torn off by a giant tiger, but luckily he was able to escape. When he was a bit older, he became a bard, and then like many of the other characters we've seen, he began fighting. Fighting. I don't know much about this world, but it must be pretty chaotic out there. In the midst of all this fighting, he took on a couple of apprentices, got married, got divorced, had a couple of different lovers. Wow, yeah, this guy has certainly had an exciting life. Lucky to have survived this long, really. Oh, and that's interesting. He's a dubious worshipper of Slu, a zombified hydra. Very unique. An additional note, this one-legged dwarf here has killed 15 goblins and 2 elves in his time. Very impressive. You know, I'd offer the guy a crutch or something, but he seems to be getting around absolutely fine. Just take it easy a bit, Doran. Get yourself a drink, maybe some food. We have a wide selection here. And just having a look at the tavern, you can see a bunch of faces in here. Got some strange ones. A whole bunch of performers as usual, but we also have a goblin peddler here. Not too sure what their deal is. But very interestingly, we have this guy, a Serpent Man, who's also a chieftain. Very strange, right? Haven't seen someone like that here before. Their name is Theleri Semele, and they're armed only with a tower cap, spear, and shield, which makes me think they're the chieftain of an underground animal people tribe, which is very strange. They came from up on the surface. He's described as being a large white snake with the arms and torso of a man. These creatures are evil and live far underground. Now, it says he's evil, but I'm not so sure. Seems like a decent enough sort. Gotta be worth looking into Legends mode, right? Let's take a dive. Okay. A bit distressing. Theleri the Serpent Man was born in 210, and in 244 he became the chieftain of the Flecked Peaks, which is a Serpent Man group of outcasts. And it looks like Theleri here is working under someone called Geb Target Quested, an old man. A criminal too, I believe. During this Serpent Man's visit to our fortress just now, it looks like it was able to corrupt Tobal in order to have an agent in Peacefulhome. Tobal was too afraid to not comply, despite valuing the law. Very, very interesting. You know, and that got me thinking, looking down the history of our fortress here, Dak, that goblin peddler, was a criminal as well. You little bastard. And it looks like they were able to corrupt Tobal as well. Both you bastards. The goblin offered revenge upon a grudge. The human Raquel Gale Council, who Tobal does not like, and who he also desired vengeance upon. Yeah, he willingly complied with that one. Tobal, what the hell you doing, man? I thought we had a nice peaceful fortress here. Okay, what the hell? Someone else also corrupted Tobal, threatening him. Just some poet, I guess. Oh, what the hell? I'm going up here, and it looks like some elf was able to corrupt Libash by flattering her. Where is your integrity, dwarves? Going up a little bit more, and yeah, there's someone else here who's also able to corrupt Libash. So what the hell? Both these dwarves are working as agents of a couple of different groups now. That is something. I don't know whether I should be upset or awestruck. It is pretty amazing, but it does make me feel a bit bad for them as well. I'll tell you what, I think we're going to shut down our tavern for just a little bit here. I'm starting to think we've been a bit too kind to outsiders. We should really start focusing on us a little bit more. Alright, I've shut the place down, and I'm hoping they get the hell out of here at some point. They should anyways. Can't trust anyone these days. Here we are opening our home to outsiders, and what do we get? Corrupted. Dirty business, I'll tell you. There you go, would you have a look at that? Just received this message here. The expedition leader Tobal Basenaban and the manager Libash Muzsudlogem have married. Congratulations. Isn't that nice? It did take quite some time and we had to wait for all those performers to leave. There are still a couple of stragglers, but that's fine. We've had a bunch of downtime lately, and Tobal and Libash have had a lot of time to socialize with one another, and I think that's what finally brought them together like this. Awesome. Very awesome. Glad it finally happened. And you know, I'm thinking at this point that it's going to be quite some while before we open up our tavern again. Things were getting pretty dicey back there. All those criminals about. Not good. Way too much for us to handle, really. In fact, things have been running very smoothly since it's cleared out, which is just what we want around here. These days, we're fairly content just sitting down here making armor and weapons. Our original goal, you may remember. It certainly is worthwhile. A single crate of swords is enough to buy food for a couple of years at least. So I guess you could say these two are actually fairly wealthy. And so that's just what we're going to be doing from now on. Pumping out loads of armor and weapons. Yeah, just working away down here. We have a huge stockpile of iron and steel at this point. Some gold as well. And I'm not really too focused on making things to trade at the time being, just because we have such a surplus of food at this point. But I really would like to get suits of masterwork armor for our two dwarves here. And that process is taking a while. We do have a couple pieces of masterwork armor right now. Iron armor, but that's it. But again, that's fine. We're in no huge rush, really. That being said, we do have some exciting news here. That news being that we now have a third dwarf in the fortress with us. And no, it's not a child either. He's a fish cleaner, or former fish cleaner, I guess. He came in as a migrant and I was going to expel him, but you know, he got to work here in the fortress and he's been very, very handy. Extremely handy, actually, especially while Topol and Libash are downstairs making armor. His name is Cog, and he's taken on the role of kind of like a handyman around the place. He's really just been doing what we need him to do, moving items around mostly. But he's also been manning the lumber mine cart upstairs, which is great because that helps us make a lot more charcoal. Yeah, he's been very, very useful. Seems like a dependable guy. I would describe him as being a bit stony. He can be kind of emotionless sometimes, but you can tell he's a good dwarf deep down. He has a habit of talking to inanimate objects when there's a lull in the conversation, which is extremely strange, but somewhat endearing. We've given him a room down here in the tavern. We had a bunch of those rooms for the guests, but since they're not here anymore, I figured what the hell. Yeah, this is working out just fine for us. He's happy, we're happy. It's a match made in heaven, really. Okay, we are back once more with some more exciting news. We have yet another member added to our fortress, and this time, it is a child. That's right, Libash just gave birth to a son. Man, that is exciting. His name is Nish. What a good little kid. That really is something, isn't it? I've never seen a fortress grow so slowly like this. Really makes you feel a lot closer to the dwarves in it. That much is sure. Really gets you kind of invested. Which isn't good, because things can get bad very quickly. Just gonna have to keep those eyes open. You guys have a child to watch over now. Gods bless this peaceful home. Keep on keeping on, dwarves. Just continually plodding forward here, and things are still going fairly steadily. Not too sure how long it's been since Nish's birth, but we might actually be approaching 2 years. It's been at least a year. A year of calm work for the most part. Getting things all straightened out around here. Topol and Libash have been working very hard trying to make some masterwork armor and weapons, and they just completed a set for each of themselves. 2 full sets of masterwork iron armor and 2 masterwork steel battle axes. And we're digging out a barracks as we speak. Down here we can see little Nish. He is approaching his 2nd birthday, I just checked. And actually we are approaching the 10th anniversary of this little fortress here. Believe it or not. Again, time flies, doesn't it? Aside from Nish and Cog, we do have a 5th member of our fortress now, Udil, yet another migrant dwarf that we were going to expel, but I noticed she was very good at fighting, which is something we might be able to use here. Yeah, Udil seems like a very fiery dwarf. She has a very narrow focus, and she's a bit of a perfectionist. On top of that, she's also frequently angry, and I think that'd be nice for our fortress, add a bit of spice to things, you know? We do still have quite a few spare bedrooms, so I figured, why not? Another set of hands will speed things up, that's for sure. And in a pinch, we can make some good use of her fighting skills. She'll be an asset, I'm sure. Welcome aboard, Udil. In a bit of distressing news, down here you can see Topol, currently engraving some floors, and you can see he's not really in a great mood. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, you know, I think he regrets getting married. He loves Libash, he loves Nish, but I don't think he was ready for that commitment. Actually, if we have a look here, you can see he's angry, dwelling upon getting into an argument. And that's been the case quite frequently. Him and Libash have been arguing a lot. Not too sure what it's all about, but it is pretty sad to see. I have been noticing too that he's been wanting to fight recently, and so that's why I want to hurry up and make this barracks here so we can get some training in. That might be pretty cool, I'm thinking. You know what? I gotta say, I'm actually feeling a bit like Topol does right now. I think it's time for some excitement. What do you say? I've been pretty eager to check out these caverns a bit more. On top of that, I have seen some creatures out there, nothing too harmful, just like a giant rat. It's been wandering out there a while. And there's some troglodytes out here too, actually. Yeah, let's go for it. There we are. You ready, you two? let's have ourselves a little adventure, and maybe also rekindle your feelings for each other a little bit. Here we go. Gonna make sure to lock this door behind us, don't want anything sneaking in. I figured we start out by heading to the northwestern caves, just so we could see what's out that way. Looks like we have some ant corpses up here. Ant people, that is. It was a tribe of them, but it looks like they're all dead. Hold up a second. Where the hell did Tobal go? The forgotten beast Daz Stuzangomus has come. A gigantic blob composed of grime and filth. It has wings and it squirms and fidgets. Beware, it's poisonous gas. Looks like we're in a little bit of a bind here. A forgotten beast just crept in from up on this hill here. Apparently Lybash didn't see it. She continued this way up to the north. Tobal did see the thing, and he panicked. He's over in the west now. And at this point, that beast lies between them and the fortress. And I'm not too sure what we can do. Do we try to avoid the creature and run off into the caverns? Or can we fight it, do you think? I don't think we can. I think running is going to be their only option. And so I think I'm going to have them try to group up over here. I assume they can meet up on top of this hill. Just really hoping there's nothing dangerous over there. Alright, yeah. Lybash is headed to the west, and Tobal is headed to the west. Excellent. I don't think the blob sees them. Good dwarves, there we go. Just watching up here, and okay. They're together once more, thankfully. Oh, but here comes that blob right behind them. Alright, we gotta get out of here. Unless, I don't know, what do you think? Think they can handle this guy? Apparently Tobal has no interest. Oh no, but here goes Lybash. Tobal, damn it, I thought you wanted to fight, didn't you? Get the hell back over here, will ya? Okay, here we go. Oh boy. This can't be good, right? Lybash is moving straight in. And here comes a cloud of gas. Lybash is engulfed. She starts out by biting the forgotten beast, for some reason. But then hacks it, hacking it like crazy with her steel battle axe. And each time fractures its filthy body. Yeah, she is a beast. Going to town. The creature doesn't seem to be doing that much besides moving around and breathing this gas out, which Lybash keeps getting caught in. Really hoping that doesn't affect her in any bad way. Oh, it charges at her, knocks her backwards. Ooh, she's down, still down, dizzy, but she's back up. Clouds of gas all over the place. I don't know where Tobal is. He ran off to the west somewhere. She is still going at it. Oh, there goes a wing. Keep at it, Lybash. And the creature was killed by Lybash. Good fighting there, I gotta tell you. That was incredibly impressive, Lybash. You should be damn proud. As for Tobal, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, dude. That was a little embarrassing. Well, I hope you got your fill of excitement there, Tobal. Not sure if that was worth it. Could have gone much, much worse. You scaredy bastard. Let's get back home, huh? I think it's time for a little rest. Well, you know, I guess that's gonna about do it for us here. Our peaceful home is peaceful once more. Mostly thanks to Lybash. But I guess I wouldn't have been out there in the first place if it wasn't thanks to Tobal. Regardless, I'm happy they both came home safely. I'm a bit surprised that gas didn't have any effect on Lybash, but again, very pleased. Now, at this point you may be asking yourself, what is to come of these dwarves? Well, I'm afraid that's something we just can't know. It was fun peeking in on them a little bit here, but for now, we'll leave them to their business. I'd say they're perfectly capable of handling themselves. Well, you bearded bastards, I hope you, like myself, can appreciate the merits of having a very tiny fortress now. I wasn't too sure what to expect here at the beginning, but obviously a tiny fortress can have stories just as interesting as the big ones, if not more interesting. If you'd like to try something like this yourself, then I would highly suggest it, and also put some little instructions down in the description below. Best of luck if you take a stab at it. Anyways, my bearded bastards, I hope you had fun today, and I certainly hope you'll be joining me next time, here in Dwarf Fortress. And until then, my bearded bastards.